Things can get really busy for the Red Sox in just a second here. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and today we're going over a deadline that may cause the Red Sox to make a couple of trades here over the next coming days, and why this is so important to the 2025 offseason. Don't forget, we are raising money for Movember still. We're about halfway through this campaign, and you guys have been absolutely killing it. Our goal this month is to hit $1,500, and we're almost there. So if you want to help us officially reach that goal, all you got to do is click the link in the description or the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for taking a second and considering, also clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, tomorrow's deadline day for a couple of really important things, specifically for the Boston Red Sox. The first one is that everyone who got a qualifying offer over the last couple of weeks is going to have to either accept or decline it. Now, that's throughout all of Major League Baseball, and a lot of them are no-brainers, right? I would be dumbfounded if Corbin Burnes accepted his qualifying offer, or if Juan Soto accepted his qualifying offer. But for the Red Sox, it's a really interesting conversation because Nick Pivetta is the one that either needs to accept his 1-year, $21 million deal or decline it and go to free agency, and the Red Sox may get a pick from that. And while that may indirectly affect how the Red Sox go about the trade market, it probably isn't going to directly affect it, especially over the coming days. However, the other deadline here might actually do that, and that is the deadline to figure out who the Red Sox are going, and really all of Major League Baseball, are going to protect from the Rule 5 draft. Basically a draft that allows other teams to select minor league players who aren't being given opportunities with their current club and put them on their Major League roster. For the Red Sox, that's an extremely long list, and that's the reason why we're talking about it in today's video, because there's 55 names on this list for the Boston Red Sox. There's a ton of players right now that are eligible for the Rule 5 draft, and the Red Sox have essentially until 6 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night to either protect these guys and put them on the 40-man roster or risk having them lost in that Rule 5 draft. And I think there are a couple of players that absolutely are sort of at the helm of players that could be snagged. I'm talking names like Hunter Dobbins, Michael Fulmer, Nixon Garcia, Blaze Jordan, Yordany Monegro, Noah Song, Christopher Troy, and a few others that I think absolutely shoot up to the top of that list when it comes to guys that could be picked up by, say, the Blue Jays or the Yankees or whoever in Major League Baseball in this draft. Now, the big problem here is that the Red Sox don't really have the room to fit all of these guys on their roster, right? In fact, I would be pretty surprised if more than 3 of these guys were added to the 40-man roster. I mean, the 40-man roster to begin with, specifically for the Red Sox, doesn't have a ton of players that you would just simply want to DFA. Now, optioning them down to AAA, maybe, but flat-out DFAing, there's really not a ton. It feels like it would be a waste of talent at the Major League level. Plus, there's a whole lot to figure out there, right? So, in my opinion, what you're looking at coming out of tomorrow, Tuesday, is a lot of guys not ending up on that 40-man roster. I would probably guess that the Red Sox end up going with most likely Michael Fulmer, because Craig Breslow did sign him last year. Most likely Hunter Dobbins because of what he did in the minor leagues last year. And honestly, most likely Yordany Monegro. I think those are the 3 guys that the Red Sox end up protecting by DFAing some players and getting them onto the 40-man roster. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are a couple players that they value higher. Again, I don't know if it's going to be worth the roster spot to protect like a Blaze Jordan or a Yost Nixon, just simply because it's a lot harder to stash away a Yost Nixon. And honestly, I would be taking a look at names like Bailey Horn, Chase Sugar, and maybe you go into a guy like Isaiah Campbell or something like that. I don't know. This is what I'm saying. There's not a ton of room on this 40-man roster, so that's going to be an interesting decision in its own right. But the reason we're talking about this in terms of a trade, because the Red Sox have one sure way of avoiding the risk of these guys getting picked up for basically nothing, and that is to move them on the open market. Now, if the Red Sox don't put them on their 40-man, or even if the Red Sox end up putting them on their 40-man roster until the draft, which is December 11th, the Red Sox have the ability ability to move these guys who are Rule 5 eligible and see if they could get something valuable in return. Take a guy like Yost Nixon. Maybe this isn't the kind of name that you're willing to DFA Nick Sogard or someone for, but it is someone who, hey, the White Sox, who aren't competing anytime soon, are very open and willing to allow to develop at the major league level without really worrying about what their performance is, right? That's absolutely a possibility. Maybe he's part of a bigger package. Same goes for Blaze Jordan, right? I think a lot of teams really like the power behind what he could possibly do, the overall solidity of his game, right? Being just sort of an average 4-tool player across the board. Maybe that's somebody who, hey, the A's probably aren't competing anytime soon. Let's see if we can let him develop at the major league level over the next couple of months. And if we can, all right, well, back to the Red Sox you go. This is kind of a great opportunity for the Red Sox. They have a ton of names here. They have a ton of talent here, and they have the ability to trade these guys before this December 11th deadline. So I do think that is one of the reasons why we are going to see some movement over the next couple of days. Not only because the Red Sox are going to be the ones with a ton of guys that aren't protected right now and really should be getting some value from if you're going to let them go for nothing, but also because a ton of teams in Major League Baseball are going through the same thing, right? Maybe there is another Justin Slayton out there that the Red Sox are looking at being like, man, I really hope he's Rule 5 eligible. Well, you could kind of jump the gun a little bit by going after one of these guys on the trade market, maybe Rule 5 for Rule 5, maybe you go Rule 5 for a back end of the roster type player. Again, it's probably not going to be any franchise altering trades, but I do think we could see some movement because the decision's made tomorrow. But that's not the only reason the Red Sox could be making moves over the next couple of days. The other reason here is sort of a residual effect of what protecting players actually means throughout Major League Baseball, because obviously, to protect these players, you're going to have to make room on the 40-man roster, right? You're going to have to DFA some people to get these guys on there. And for Major League Baseball, what this means is you're going to have sort of a wealth of players entering that sort of DFA route. And it's going to be interesting, guys. Again, I'm not talking about franchise-altering names. Cleveland Guardians probably aren't DFAing Emmanuel Clase, right? The Kansas City Royals probably aren't DFAing Bobby Witt Jr., but hey, maybe there's some middle of the bullpen type guys. Maybe there's a lefty they're really interested in, the Red Sox, that ends up getting DFA'd. Maybe there's a backup first baseman the Red Sox are looking at that gets DFA'd. Maybe there's a surprising defensive catcher that gets DFA'd in all of this, and all of a sudden, you've got some reason to really go out there and be aggressive because, yeah, hypothetically, if someone ends up getting DFA'd here, you could just wait it out and see. Maybe he falls to you in the DFA snake order draft. Maybe this is a guy that you can wait out and see if he gets to free agency. But realistically, if this is someone you want, it sort of starts the clock on when you can trade for him. You've got about a week until that sort of DFA, hey, you want him? No. Okay, next. Hey, do you want him? Starts to come down. So yeah, I think this absolutely could end up increasing the odds that the Red Sox make some moves over the next couple of days. Again, it's not going to be a big, massive trade or anything, but I do think we could start to see some little trades, especially with guys that still have options left, especially with guys that still have the ability to stay in some minor league positions for the couple of months throughout the season, because what this would do would allow the Red Sox to build up some depth, and I think that's really important. We don't talk about it enough. We want those star frontline guys because rightfully the Red Sox should have those guys, but they also need to create depth going into 2025, especially on the pitching side of things. That's why the Red Sox didn't make the playoffs last year. It's not because they didn't have superstars. It's because the depth they had for their bullpen when injury struck just simply wasn't efficient enough to be a league average or even slightly below league average bullpen, right? They ended up as a absolutely miserable bullpen, and a lot of that had to do with insufficient depth there. So if you can get that by either going through and seeing some of these DFA'd guys and trying to make something work, or by utilizing some of your Rule 5 players and getting some of these deals done, then you absolutely should be doing that. And on top of that, you've also got maybe some other guys that you could trade as well. well. Again, you have to DFA players if you're going to fit them onto your team. Maybe a guy like Bailey Horn is someone that another team is interested in. Maybe a Chase Sugard is someone the team is interested in. Even Isaiah Campbell, maybe that's a guy other teams have some interest in. You could get something for essentially nothing. I just think what we're going to see over the next couple of days is a whole lot of depth moves for the Red Sox, and people are going to be kind of upset about it. I think a lot of people are going to start saying dumpster diving or all that crap about these moves, but this is necessary for a team to continue to be competitive. Yes, obviously you need that star power, but you need to be able to sustain everywhere else and let those guys shine for 162, and that has a lot to do with depth. So over the next couple of days, I do think we're going to see some moves for the Red Sox. Again, they're going to have to figure out who they're going to protect. My official prediction is they are going to protect Michael Fulmer and Yordani. I think maybe Hunter Dobbins gets thrown in there. I would like to see that. I'm not entirely sure. And then possibly the Red Sox go for Christopher Troy and Yost Nixon, one of those two names, but I have a hard time seeing them go for 4. Once those guys are selected, the rest of these guys are big names to keep an eye on, or I guess names in general, I should say, keep an eye on when it comes to the trade market. Every other team in Major League Baseball is doing the exact same thing, so it really does kind of quick start some of the movement over the next couple of weeks. Again, they have until December 11th to officially get these guys traded or to just simply let them get selected in the Rule 5 draft, or maybe they don't get selected. I don't know. I'm not an MLB GM, so they could end up also being a part of a bigger trade as well. But these are absolutely the names to pay attention to, and I do think we'll see some interesting names added via DFA to this sort of free agent frenzy over the next couple of weeks as well. So hopefully we get some pretty interesting Red Sox stuff going on over the next couple of days. But until that happens, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think? I know this was a little bit confusing, but do you think there's something coming for this Red Sox team? Do you think some trades are around the corner? Who do you think of these Rule 5 draft potential prospects do you think gets added? Who do you think gets traded? And is there anyone that you're eyeing on this sort of DFA frenzy that may be coming over the next couple of days? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you want to listen instead of watch these episodes, all you got to do is head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.